Books on the Brain.
Welcome back to Books on the Brain, a podcast of books and nonsense. I'm Deirdre,
I'm Danielle.
and we are back with another episode. And if you can tell by the title, it is one that we have been teasing for a very long time, if you've been around for a very long time.
Millennia,
So we're
years.
excited. But before we get into it, very brief, because we do have a lot to discuss
We
on the
do.
topic of the episode today. How are ya?
I'm I'm good. I'm done my school year, summer vacation for the teacher. So I've just been sleeping. I've just been sleeping and um realizing how much my body was missing rest and actual calm when my body's not inflated. I'm like, oh, it's kind of nice.
Right.
Um, I also have been visiting my niece a lot, so I've been seeing lots of my little boo-boo.
I love how we've both come into this stage of life at the same time because I feel like we're having parallel experiences.
Okay, we got to talk about it.
I know. All right. So as you can tell by the title of today's video, we are doing a Hunger Games episode. I went hunting for my original copies and I couldn't find them.
Really?
I think they're in a box in my parents' attic and it was too hot for me to go opening boxes.
Yes, this is my first edition. My first edition Hunger Games. Uh, you'll notice that it does have a Stephanie Meyer tagline that says, "The Hunger Games is amazing."
I love that it's on a sticker.
And I could take it off. Like it's literally on a
You can't. You have to leave it
I
on.
do have to. I've left it on for the song. But yeah, this is like my little guy.
There will be spoilers. This is your spoiler warning. If you do not want spoilers for any of the Hunger Games OGs, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, or Sunrise on the Reaping, then maybe just don't listen to this whole episode. Don't know what to tell you.
Or go get reading and then come back. Your blackout. I remember.
Yes. And
I remember
then
the story.
I actually don't remember if I reread it when I was in high
Mm,
school. I can't remember if I only read it once or if I reread any part of the series.
okay.
I thought I did a reread during COVID, but I don't remember. And I've experienced the movies more than
Way more.
the books.
Agreed. Agreed. I have a similar, well, I reread this a lot. I reread The Hunger Games a lot and Catching Fire a lot. So it was
Mm.
on my rotation. Like I had reread them kind of at nauseum, and then the movies started coming out. And then Mockingjay, I've read once. I read it
Mockingjay, I've for sure only read once.
I read it the when it came out, and then I said, and I haven't opened it since. And I didn't
I know I
reread it
didn't
for
get
this.
to it before this episode, and I will.
I think I will too.
I do plan on reading it because I need to experience it with my frontal lobe closed.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. Because even like rereading The Hunger Games and Catching Fire with an adult mindset, I'm like, you guys, huh?
I'm curious how you felt about her sort of like structure of info dumping because I do feel like that is how she does her storytelling.
Every book we find out something new about the history of Pan Am and the
Yes.
history of this place. And like because of the characters in their narrow worldview, right? Like Katniss
Hmm.
has never been out of District 12, so she doesn't know better. So
Right.
as she learns more, we learn more. As
Hmm.
we go into Snow's perspective and Ballad, when we go into Hamish's perspective, um, like it's just the world becomes to get like in the most satisfying way. You're like, yes,
Yeah.
because I shouldn't like leave the Hunger Games, the first book being like, oh, I know the whole history of everything.
Yeah.
No, like I loved being like, here's this vague kind of like, I understand something happened and now they're all, and then as Katniss becomes more aware of these things, we become more aware. I'm like, this is just good writing. It's just
Yeah.
good writing.
Yeah. The book's pacing ends up having such a really good flow. The books just move. You open the book it feels like by page 3 we're at the reaping and then next thing we know they're in the Capitol. And inside of all of that, we learn everything we need to know about the games.
Yeah.
We are caught up. We are in it. We know what we need to know. She's going to continue to tell us more about the history and keep us informed. And those moments end up creating these really great lulls to
Hmm.
the action sequences.
Hmm. Hmm.
And the book just has this great ebb and flow to it, and it just goes. And oddly enough, sure, were there a couple points where I was like, whoa, we're stopped. This is annoying. Let me move forward. Sure.
Yeah.
But I think as a lover of storytelling and different storytelling tactics,
Yeah.
I think it works really, really well, especially for a YA audience.
Absolutely. Like it's almost like more cyclical storytelling where it's like I'm talking in circles and I'm coming back to what I'm gonna say, but like I'm gonna tell you all of what you need to know uh on the way there. I have a really hard time
Mm,
personally remembering what district does what and where they are and
same, same.
like
I need to look at a map
I think so, right?
because I forgot. I thought that we as fans just kind of figured out that District 12 was in like Appalachia,
Yeah, and they
America.
say it in the
No,
book and I
no,
was like,
they
oh,
say it. They say it right at the beginning of book one. It is
literally.
the deconstructed United States. Very
Yeah.
clearly, there has been a mishandled revolution. It is a government state now, and
Yes.
all of the states are dismantled. They are no longer states, and District 12 is essentially like probably Virginia area, if I had to guess, like that
Okay.
area across. But they talk about it being a small district. And then District 11 is a really big district
Yep.
and it's farming. So I'm like, I don't know which direction
Direction.
they went in because
Yeah.
I'm assuming
It's a straight line.
because of the way the train goes,
Yeah.
it's 12, 11, 10, blah, 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 blah.
Agreed.
So I am thinking it's east to west and the capital is by California,
Okay.
but
But didn't they say the
maybe it's
Rockies?
not that
Oh, but the
linear
Rockies. Yeah, that's true. Maybe it's a little more ziggy zaggy.
because like District 4 is water. So I'm like, which coast is
Which
it?
coast? True. Good question.
Because they talk about in book 2 how the capital can't get their shrimp because um they've been cut off from District
Yeah.
4 or there's like a problem in District 4. Um so I'm like I need a map.
Hello. I know. I'm like, I just assumed because of the movies it was a straight line because I was like, yeah, the trains go
Right.
straight. Trains straight. Track
Trains straight. Trains can't curve.
trains no. Trains straight only. And part of it is like because in Canada we have a railroad that goes across Canada.
So do
So
we.
like it's a straight line. So I
Yeah,
just assume they would use the straight line.
right.
I don't know. Maybe that's dumb. Maybe everyone else has figured it out except for us. That we're like, how is it? Is it like a diagonal straight line? Like, what is it? Um, but yeah, that was something I struggled with a lot in the reread. I was like, who are you guys again? What are you doing? Where
I
are
know.
you?
I was like, and I feel like I missed the whole middle. I'm like, okay, I understand that 11 is agriculture,
Yes,
8
12 is
is
mining.
8 is textiles,
Yes.
4 is water.
13's nuclear.
5, 6, 7, 9, 10. I have no clue. I
I
have no
literally don't know.
clue what they do.
No.
I know Joanna's is whatever Joanna is trees, but the only reason I know that is because I just reread Catching Fire.
And because her outfit looks
And
like a
her
tree when
outfit's a
yeah.
fucking tree.
That's literally my context. And maybe like that's part of like because that's Katniss. But no, Katniss would learn about it in school. So I don't really
Yeah,
know. Um, yeah, I truly like I'm like I know six is Fox Fix is from, but I'm like I don't know if that has anything to do with what they do.
right, right.
Are they Fox people there? Well, hello?
Very wily.
Yeah, wily people. Um, yeah, so I feel like, and part of that, can be said that maybe the world building could be a little bit more explicit of like if people are like struggling to know.
I feel like I let myself get a little annoyed by the music and storytelling from Ballad.
Oh yeah,
I
same.
listened to the audiobook.
Amen.
There was a little too much music for me. And I love music. I am a musician. And I was
Pretty little
like,
folk song.
I'm having a little bit of a hard time coming back to the first book, and seeing Katniss's relationship to music and the song that she sings to Rue,
Yes.
and then sort of thinking through, like, okay, how is music and sound and song continued to be used through the original trilogy, and then it connects back to Ballad and through Sunrise.
Yeah.
Walk with me. I'm
Yes.
thinking through
Walking.
all of this.
Walking.
Then I start to think about a lot of these other fantasy series that
Mhm.
use song and songwriting and lyrics as a form of storytelling, like
Yeah,
in Lord of the Rings. It is
absolutely.
huge throughout Lord
Yeah.
of the Rings, the stops for song lyrics and the
Mhm.
meaning of songs.
Mhm.
I was thinking about Darkwater Daughter
Yep,
and
absolutely.
how, like,
How's she singing?
how she's singing, what she's singing about, and how that works. And
Yep.
how Suzanne has created full worlds.
Oh, for sure.
She has is telling these stories not just through what Katniss is experiencing. It is in what she is wearing, it is in the music she has learned, it is in the history she has learned, the economics of the world, the economics of the districts, like the seam folks versus the merchants. And I then I start going and going and going. And I'm like,
Mhm.
it is so lush. Like, she didn't just say, there's this girl. She has these two men for choice. But really, she's more interested in just existing.
Literally.
And no, there is so much more to it. And I haven't moved, I haven't hit the next part, but I'm sure there's a revelation coming.
Yeah, yeah. I I think the storytelling, like, yes, in Ballad, it really turned me off, but it was because of the way the audiobook did the
I know.
song. I
And
don't
it's really nothing against Santino. Like,
Davina
Santino
Fontana,
is
but he's a singer. Let the man sing.
he is a singer. He's a good singer. He's a good audiobook narrator. But
Yeah.
oh my God, I was so turned off.
It was unbearable. And like historically, it took us both forever to read that book,
Yes.
and it was painful.
I feel like that book took me the longest to read
Oh, it
out
took
of
me a
all of them.
whole year to read Ballad and Songs. Like, I started at Goodreads, and then a whole year later, I
I
finished.
forgot. It took you that
Like,
long.
whole last year to read because it was just so hard and so sad to get through.
Hmm.
Um, but part of it too, I like because yes, Ballad is my least favorite. I feel like that's not a hot take. Like, and maybe Ballad is my least favorite book, and then probably Mockingjay.
I know. In this reread series that I'm doing, I really don't want to reread Ballad. I have
I
no
know.
desire to, whereas I actually do have a desire to reread Mockingjay. Granted, it's been 15
Eons.
years since I've
Yeah.
read Mockingjay, so that probably has
Yeah.
something to do with it. So maybe
Yes.
ask me in 15 years if I want to
Literally.
reread Ballad.
As time in District 12 has progressed, the art form of song has been lost and starting to lose and disintegrate. So
Mhm.
it does show us in this world, in this culture specifically, the District 12 culture, um, how stories are told and how important things are passed on to people. Um, and for Katniss to like in the first book, she's like kind of like nervous about her voice. She doesn't really like singing, and then Peeta's like, "You have the best voice. It's this beautiful thing." And like even the dad, Burdock, is that how we say it?
Yes.
I think so. I can't remember.
I just call him
Burdock,
her dad.
Papa. When Papa sings, everyone stops and the birds stop and they all listen, and it's this like huge thing. Um, but it's almost like this awe where everybody around them stops and listens to one person versus in Ballad where like everyone's singing and everyone's
Hmm.
partying and everyone's joying, like dancing and involved in these things. And it's almost like we know directly that Snow has so much to do with the lost art of song and singing because he freaking hates Distracto so much. Lucy Gray, she represents this fight, this song, this rebellion, and then to see that song squished and squashed, and then it start to rise with Katniss, and then through the original series, we see how much more music becomes, even just like the Mockingjay song and like all these
Hmm.
things. I think it's just this beautiful little motif about um, rebellion and like how it's like in the Billy Elliot musical when the people are the unions are like singing and it's like yeah unions sing because it's like the coming together of people. Okay.
Something that really struck me and is sticking with me in
Hmm.
this reread. And I'm sure I like thought about it the first time that I read this, but I think the majority of my like actual intellectual analysis of this is coming with age, is disability and the games and how the Capitol utilizes disabling people to further their agenda.
Absolutely.
From the PTSD that every victor is left with,
Hmm.
and to Peta's physical disability. He's not the only person that's left with a physical disability. We meet
No.
somebody in, I forget his name, in book two who's lost part of his arm.
Yep.
Um, Katniss has her ear restructured after she goes deaf, but through the beginning of book two, she doesn't talk about it as much once she gets into the games, but at the beginning, she really struggles with trusting her ear.
Hmm.
Even though when you break it down, they spend what, a week in the games?
Literally.
I kind of want to go back, and I'm sure somebody else has done this, map out the amount of days, because it's not by chapter, like you can't
No.
count it that way. Um,
Because there's also a lot of time where it's like, and then she was passed out for 2 days, and you're like, how
right,
many days has it
right.
been?
So it's like, okay, I guess if I'm being generous, it was maybe 2 weeks.
I think two
Um,
or three, because I think in the first book they mentioned like 3 weeks is kind of like the max it would go.
so even though so little of her life, like compared to the 16 years that she has lived,
Hmm.
she spent and she didn't even spend the whole 2 weeks disabled.
Yep.
It was a finite amount of time. It has still traumatized her so much to
Hmm.
not be able to rely on one of her senses wholly that
Hmm.
although she now has that sense back, she cannot trust it.
It's it, I like I remember rereading the part where she gets her hearing back, and I was like, oh, like um,
Yeah.
I feel like it was very like it's a period. It's a product of a time period where it was like yes, but it was also like, huh, I wonder why. And maybe this is a detail I missed, but I'm like, I wonder why Peta's leg being amputated and her like hearing like I wonder why if we can heal some things and like every single wound on her body is gone and scar and blemish, but we can't heal his leg in the same way. Like I think it's
Yes.
I just was like this is interesting of like what the choice to choose who to help and who to help.
But also the lengths of change they're willing to make to certain people. Because in book two, Katniss talks about how her team comes to District 12 and she's getting all the hair ripped off her body. And she was like, she has a moment where she's like, I remember all the women have it, or girls really, having to get all their body hair removed before going into the games, but the boys did not receive that. But they like kind of did. but not really. Like some
Mhm.
of them, it looked like they did. So it seems like for some, I certainly don't think it's a choice.
No,
Um, I wonder if it's like a partial conversation with their stylist
sure.
in terms of the men, but or boys.
But
I really should call them boys because they're all children.
and we're gonna
Um,
get to that.
the girls don't have that choice. And then
Ah,
they talk about how, like, yes, her ear was reconstructed, but they also wanted to do like full on changing surgery to her body.
you want to
And
give her boobs.
Haymitch had to stop them. But they couldn't save PETA's leg.
His leg. Yeah. Like, and especially for it to then be cut out of the movies, I'm like, I wonder what I would have loved to have been like a fly on the wall in that conversation between Suzanne and the other writers of
Mhm.
for them to decide to not do that.
Yeah.
Because it's so interesting. Like, I don't know if part of it is like, it all feels like framing. Like, it all feels like
Hmm.
all of these characters have these archetypes of like, this is the character they're playing. They're playing the ingenue, they're playing the like rogue, they're playing whatever. And I'm wondering if PETA fitting into that archetype was better, like it was just better suited for his story, for him to
Be
have
disabled.
this disability. Um, but I don't know. I don't know because then they just take it out of the movie. So I it's truly an interesting thing.
I had a moment when I was rereading the first book because
Yeah.
Katniss is talking about not wanting children because she doesn't want them reaped. And I had one of those like brain fart moments where I was like, have victors had children go into the games? And then, of course, I remembered Sunrise. And then in book two, she
Yeah.
spends a moment talking about how there's and is she the way she phrases it, it's like an odd number of Victor's children end up being reaped, and you can't
Yeah,
help but think that that is not intentional on the
absolutely.
part of the Capitol.
Well,
Um,
because even like to think about Prim being raped when she had her name in the bucket once, I'm like, the chances of that are so slim, so slim. Especially knowing like, yeah, and I love that Suzanne never really talks, like, never really confirms or denies anything, but we can just like muddle around in the mud with it.
mhm.
But yeah, there's so much more interference, not even just from the government and the capital, but from the resistance and like how they are moving these pieces like pawns too. And I'm like,
Yeah,
so cool. So cool, but also real
I know.
spooky.
And then you start in on the like point, not really, but phrase of the Hunger Games, like the odds and fate and how much is being controlled versus how much is left up to
Yeah.
odds.
And the odds are never going to be in your favor if they're actually truly odds. But when they're toyed around, it becomes a little spooky dooky.
Spooky,
Um, and then
ooky.
I think about what's the guy's name from Wyatt, the character Wyatt
Mm.
in
Mhm.
Sunrise, and him being this statistician math guy and how he does all these things. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's it's a little blip in the first book, but Katniss when she gets raped and she's up on stage and they're like, clap for her, and then nobody claps. And she mentions like even the people with their betting ballots don't clap. And I'm like, people like it's it's so interesting like what pertains because I'm like or what continues on. Like
Hmm.
it was such a big thing, the betting in Sunrise, and
Yeah,
then this was like some people are doing it. Um, I just like those little details. I'm like, hey, wait, I know that. I know
I
that girl.
know.
Okay. I feel like we've gone on long enough without mentioning this.
We were going to talk about this the longest.
Yes, the yearning truly, the yearning
The
truly.
yearning, the yearning. We have to talk about the romance.
We do. And it like I forgot how much I love book PETA. Like point
Yeah.
blank period. Josh Hutcherson is fine. Like he's wonderful. He's a great PETA.
I had such a big crush on Josh before the Hunger Games that
Richard Terabithia.
Bridge to Terabithia, Journey to the Center of the Earth.
What?
Like I remember having a Tiger Beat poster of Josh on my wall. I'm like blushing. I had the biggest crush on him
Oh
as a
yeah.
kid. And so when he got cast in Hunger Games as PETA, oh, my little heart was soaring. And then I got to
Yes.
watch him in all three of these movies, and I was like losing my goddamn mind. Losing my
True.
goddamn mind.
Like he is the perfect casting for PETA.
Agreed.
There's just something about book PETA where um because Josh's portrayal of PETA is so iconic, it was nice to go back to the book and being like, oh, here's a different version of him that
Yeah.
like is pretty similar, but like is kind of like a little more suave at times. Like he's like he gets in the speeches
Yeah.
a little bit more. He's a little bit like more a boy her age. And
Yeah.
I think that's part of and I don't know if we're going to talk about this kind of. I guess we can kind of talk about it now.
We can
But
talk
like
about whatever we want.
hey, this is our podcast.
Bring it up.
The casting, like the thought to cast these characters as so much older than
Mm-hmm.
they are,
Yes.
I think also plays into them losing some of that like yeah, a 16-year-old boy would be freaking perving on like would want to be kissing the hot girl that he had a crush on. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I feel like we miss some of that when we have older actors playing younger characters because they don't want to sexualize them too much. But I'm like
Yeah.
there is a sexuality to young people that age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like the book does a really good job of talking about it and being like, yeah, like Katniss is really uncomfortable with seeing naked people. She doesn't
Mm-hmm.
want to. And like, um, it's her first kiss and all these things. And it's like, but she kisses him a lot in the book.
Yeah.
And they kiss like what, once or twice in the movie?
Yeah. No,
Which I
but
feel
they
like,
she kisses him a lot and she really struggles with. And I think what really struck me with this reread and specifically because I have so much movie and like marketing influence in my brain from this series,
sure.
I forgot how non-existent the romance is in book one.
So it's all like her being like, and then
It's
it's probably fake, right?
her thinking he is using it as strategy,
Yep.
her using it as her strategy,
Yeah.
and then coming to the realization that maybe he does have feelings for her and maybe he hasn't been lying this whole time, but she has. But has she? And
But she hasn't
then
though.
she has to reckon with her own feelings and
Yeah.
really have this like very adult realization of how much of it was I was manipulated into these feelings, not just by PETA and because of what he said, but by the circumstances, and how
Absolutely.
much of it is
For
a like
survival.
quote unquote Stockholm syndrome like adjacent thing
Sure.
versus a survival tool. And I don't actually feel anything for you beyond I care about you as a community member and I needed to bring you home.
But then we also have these moments where Katniss like questions herself, where she's like,
Hmm.
"But like I do, and I did, and I he saved my life when I was young, and I always owe him something. But is me feeling like I owe him turning into me having affections? Like it's so." It's so I that in itself, that relationship is so interesting.
Yeah.
And then you put on
And then you add Gail.
you add stupid war criminal Gale. Ugh. Um, I have to
Oh,
say, I did not enjoy Gale anymore in the books than I did in the movie. So I was like, get rid of him, get him off my
no.
page.
I know she
Um,
comes back. I forgot
yeah,
again,
yeah,
much like how I forgot how non-existent the romance is in book one.
yeah,
I did really forget how she like grapples with her feelings about the two of them in book two. And
yeah.
she has what I think is a very teenage and a very interesting, like, come to Jesus
Sure, sure, sure.
moment right after Gail gets whipped, where it's, I can't remember if it was before or after the kiss. She is working through her feelings, working through her emotions, and she really stops for a second and she's like, how would I feel if Gail was me? If
Mhm.
Gail went into the games, finds out that one of our friends, so to say,
Yeah.
um, has had feelings for him, uses that to win the games, comes
Yeah.
home practically engaged, and
Makes
I've
it happen to be
and
the rest of their life.
I've had to watch them have a relationship on television, and I'm confronted with it every day.
Yeah.
And then she goes, Gail is mine. And I was like,
Mm.
"Oh no. Oh no. You are trapped in the
You're
mentality
16.
of a teenager. Like
Oh,
you
girl.
haven't experienced more relationships. And yes, Gail can feel like yours for now. I
Mhm.
want you to feel that feeling because it is an important thing to go through, but
Yes.
oh no." He's not the one. He's not
No,
the one,
please.
Katniss. He's not.
He's not. Not for you, girl. Not, I think, for anybody.
And
But
I
like,
I really forgot that she had that moment. And I think it's so important.
absolutely. I think too, it's so interesting. Like Gale is a character of like before getting to Mockingjay, like just between the first two books.
Hmm.
Gale as this like caregiver. Gale as like the guy who saved her family, who saved her, but also like Peeta as this guy who also saved her and her family. And like how much all of Katniss's love interests come from like, and you did something nice for me, so now I have to like you.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of loco bananas, but also relatable. Um,
Yeah. And
a little
she
bit.
has a really, really interesting relationship with favors.
Absolutely.
And like and
Feeling she owes
feeling
people.
feeling like she owes people for kindness.
Yep. Which is like a product of her environment growing up, right?
Mhm.
That nothing is ever done for the niceness of it or for the kindness of it. It's always done for a reason, which is why she's so messed up about Peeta in the first book. She's like, how could he be saying these things and not mean it or mean it? And like we find out he does mean it.
Yeah.
Maybe she means it too, but um yeah, I like how like the romance gets more in Catching Fire, obviously, but I like
Yeah.
how it was never
But
the
even
forefront of these
even
books.
then, it is so not.
Yeah,
Like it is actually crazy to me going back and being like, whoa.
they really
We
like
we talk way more about the romance than we do about the disability, about
political climate of the world.
political climate of the world, about what the other districts do.
Literally,
And
where they are on a map.
I'm like, we are grasping at times. Like
Yeah,
it's their subtext.
it is, and I like I think because of when this story was adapted,
Hmm.
because it was in the height of the Divergent and the Twilight and the all these even City of Bones, where it's like
Yeah.
everything was so romance based. That was like,
Yeah.
yes, we had these fantastical worlds, but what was selling and appealing was the relationship. We had Hunger Games being adapted during this time where it wasn't necessarily really about the relationship other than it being a tool of
Strategy.
propelling of survival, right? Um, and it's so interesting to see how that changes from the book to the movie.
Yeah.
Uh, of like, yeah, they make it so much more of an event in the movie, mind you, because and I don't think the movie would have been as successful if it didn't do that.
No, I agree. I think they did need the love triangle
Absolutely.
angle, especially in the marketing. I mean, not need,
Absolutely.
but I think it certainly
It helped.
helped.
Of
I
course.
think it's really, really striking me how right off the jump in book one, Katniss is like, I am never getting married. I am never having children.
Yep.
She is
She's raised her family.
she is persistent. She cannot imagine a world in which she gets married, period. She says that point blank, I will not get married.
Well, because It's all leverage, and she knows it.
And same thing with having children. And I do wish we'd been able to really interrogate that more in book two when she's forced into the engagement
And
because
the pregnancy.
the pregnancy, um, because she has spent 16 years of her life deciding I am not going to get married. And we don't get to have her interrogate the feeling of not only being forced into a marriage, but being forced into a marriage by President Snow.
Absolutely. But then so interesting when she and Peta leverage the pregnancy as like a rebuttal to the marriage. And you're like, oh my gosh, you guys, psychological warfare, what is going
No,
on?
seriously. I've I feel like I've dropped my small bombs and now it's time to talk about it. She's only 16.
And it's just too much. Like it's crazy. Like they say it in the first book, and you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, she's 16. But then all these things start happening, and you're like, oh my God, she's 16, you guys.
And then President Snow goes, I am going to host your wedding. And I said, for a child bride?
What?
Why are we voting? Why are we voting on wedding dresses? Why are we doing a wedding dress photo shoot for a
Yeah.
16? She doesn't even turn 17 between the end of Hunger Games and the Reaping in
Mhm.
book two, which begs the question, when is her birthday?
Doesn't have one.
Because it's presumably a whole year from
That's a
Reaping
great
one to Reaping two. I mean, it is. It's 4th of July. It's Haymitch's birthday. So I'm like, is she
point, point.
17 by the time the quarter
We're in
quell
Catching Fire.
happens?
Yeah.
It doesn't make it any better. She's still a child bride.
She's still a child.
And
Yeah.
she keeps
She's still.
saying that she's 16.
That's so strange. I guess I
So I'm like,
never.
when did she turn 16?
Girl, when is your birthday, Queen? Um, I just even like yeah, like we talked about it before, but like even when the game makers are like, we're gonna give her a boob job, or we're gonna enhance her features when she comes out of the arena in the first after the first games, and Haymitch having to be like put his foot down and be like, no, we're not doing that, and then them having to pad her dress so it looks like she has more sex appeal or like is healthier, I guess.
Yeah.
Whatever they are trying to get at. I'm like this this little lady is like, especially thinking about me when I was 16, because I feel um, like me when I was 16
Hmm.
compared to like even like in the face of 16-year-olds now who have more like social media influence on their life and have more like, um, I don't know, there just seems to be a little bit more maturity with 16-year-olds now. But I was like, when I was 16, or at least appears a projection of maturity,
Yeah.
which in itself can be examined.
Hmm.
Um, but like when I was 16, I'm like, I cannot imagine like having, first of all, any of this happened to me, but like having to like think about a marriage, think about a baby, think about all these things, and then like she goes on to have, spoiler alert, at the end of Mockingjay, children, and she does.
And she
But
does
I'm
get
like, she
married.
must be in her 20s. Like she's probably in her early 20s and she's got two kids. Come on, Queen.
Yeah, she folds real quick after the revolution.
She was like, I guess, I guess I do want to be a trad wife. Goodness! No!
That is probably my biggest, because I can get on board with her having a relationship with PETA. I don't know why I'm
Sure.
waving my powder puff around. I need to pat my
Wave it, girl.
upper
Wave
lip.
it,
I'm
girl.
so sweaty.
You do.
Um, and I'm like getting worked up. Um, I can, a lot of people can't. I can get on board with her having a full loving relationship with PETA after
Sure.
all of it. I
Yes.
see it. I can see that. I can see that world. I can see that vision. Do I
Mhm.
think they need a marriage to have a full relationship? No.
No.
Um, Do I think there's a world in which if a little bit more context could have been given with the like cultural approach to marriage in District 12, could I be on board a little bit more? Sure.
Sure.
The children, though,
Are
is
crazy.
where she lost me. She
Agreed.
really lost me because not only has Katniss said from book one, before she even mentions the idea of her children being reaped, she says she doesn't want kids.
No, because she's like, she sees how awful the world is to her and her family. She's like, I don't want to have children in this awful world, let alone the Hunger Games. But
So,
just like, people are starving to death in my district. I don't want to raise
exactly.
kids.
And then she gets to the point of, working through Victor's children being raped and the odds of that happening to her
Yeah,
and presumably PETA at that point.
double whammy.
Then, spoiler alert, losing her sister.
Yeah.
After like mentally working through losing Rue
Yeah,
and what we can only presume is the like mental restructuring she has to do with the connection of Rue and Prim
yeah.
dying. To then go on and have kids, I'm like, I need a little bit more than just like, I am happy in a field with my children. Like, I really need a little bit more interrogation of how she mentally got to that point where she felt like children fit into her life.
Like, I would almost, and maybe this is a hot take, but the epilogue in Mockingjay, I think I would have preferred having the moment when Katniss finds out she's pregnant
Hmm.
and having her go through and choose that this is the life she wants to
Or
have.
conversations with her and PETA about children.
Just some like it's just the fact that she has
Something.
these two
Like I
children and
need,
it's like Peeta's okay and we're all happy. I'm like, I just feel like it's so not Katniss.
yeah. And I think that is a communal
Yeah,
feeling
yeah,
in this fandom.
not a hot take.
There are a lot of people that feel a lot of ways about her ending up with PETA.
Yeah,
I buy it. I like it. I buy it.
because I'm like, I don't like her with Gale. I
No,
don't like
that
her
was
with
never
Gale.
happening.
That was never in my head, never happening. I didn't even really realize it was a love triangle until they started promoting it in the movie, and I was like, oh, like, I'm like,
I
I
guess.
guess, I guess, but I'm like, it didn't really even seem like he was a contender to me.
I know, and then she goes and calls him hers in book two, so I guess.
But you're like, I also like, I always got a more familial vibe from him than I got a romantic interest, and then her being like, she's more like soft launching her feelings for Peeta through using Gale, of being like, and how do I feel about you? Do I have the same
Hmm.
feelings about you that I'd have about Peeta? Is this romance? Is this just
Hmm.
like, thank you for helping me stay alive?
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Well,
I hate
like
Gale.
we get PETA's history of loving, or at least having a crush on Katniss. I
Yes.
I feel like his love for Katniss comes later. By the time he enters the game, it's still a crush because Katniss says she's never talked to him. They've never spoken.
Yeah.
Um, where was I going with this? Oh no. Fuck. I had something.
Gosh darn.
Um, here we go.
Yeah.
We get to see PETA go from crush to love to psychological warfare
Yeah.
to loving her again.
Yeah.
But with Katniss, like we said earlier, it's so much more complicated for her because of the games and because of how
Yes.
she's introduced to this crush that this boy has on her. And we
Yeah.
also get to see she admits she never thought about Gail that way until she was confronted with PETA's feelings for her.
Sure.
And so it's like, oh, so Katniss has gone 16 years and presumably like the beginning of her um puberty, which is when
Sure.
a lot of people start to acknowledge romantic and sexual feelings for others.
Love.
Um all we have to really go on is her kind of telling us that she never explored that with anybody
No.
in school
Nope.
at all. Not an inclination, not a feeling, not a he's kind of cute, like nothing. And
Nope.
then all of a sudden, she is really, really interrogating her feelings for these people.
Because the world is.
Yeah,
Like the world is doing it for her and making her do it too,
yeah,
right? All these people are so invested in her relationships. Now she's like, I gotta be thinking about my relationships too, I guess. Gail is 2 years older than Peeta and Katniss.
yes.
I think inherently something in that too. I'm like, yeah, it's not the end of the world when you're 19 and someone's, or when you're 18 and someone's 20, right? Like, is it like a little like, come on, dude? Um, but there's something about the way that she meets Gale and like in the woods, and he's just like, and they work to become part of each other's lives
Mhm.
in this very authentic way. And then Peeta is this like longing through a window, like, I loved her forever. Um, it's so interesting to see then like what Katniss is like, yeah, this is the relationship that I feel more strongly towards, or this is the person I feel more strongly towards.
Yeah. But also, I'm really glad I rewrote this quote down because it made me laugh so hard
Oh, Queen.
when I was listening. She's like in the middle of interrogating all of her feelings, right? I think it's in book 2. And she goes, "I really can't think about kissing when I have a rebellion to incite." And I was like, "Hell yeah, girl."
Queen, girl boss away.
Like, you're right. Stop thinking about kissing these boys. Stop kissing Gale. One. Only kiss Peeta.
Yeah,
But two, don't kiss anybody because you've got a rebellion to run.
we got bigger fish to fry, my sweet, my angel. That is so
And I
funny.
just thought it was so, I was like, oh my God, this quote is why people think Katniss is annoying.
And like, yeah, I'm like, for sure, Katniss is a 16-year-old girl. Just like how Bella is annoying, Katniss is annoying. But I think there's also like a charm to Katniss where she's
I
just
love
so
Katniss. I've
obtuse.
always
She's
loved Katniss.
Yes, she's just so obtuse to everything and so stubborn. And she's like, well, why would someone do that? And you're like, Queen.
I am so struck by her not knowing. Like she knows a lot. She knows a lot
Yes.
of the history of the world. She has learned a lot from her dad. She has a lot of really insightful feelings
Yeah.
towards their circumstances and how other districts interact with her, particularly once she gets to the capital.
Yeah.
She has no idea about the history of rebellion.
At all.
She is so like blissfully unaware that everything she does from the moment she sets foot in the capital is
Yeah.
rebellious.
The second that she steps on that stage, everything she does, like the second she volunteers
Yeah.
for her sister, and like, but also how other people play into that, like
Hmm.
how Maisley's like, or Madge is like, please wear this pin, like in the games, and like how even like Cinna is like, do this rebellious thing, da, 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 da. And like how people are kind of pushing her, and because she doesn't know, and so she's like,
No.
here,
And then it
here,
gets to
no.
the point where she shoots an arrow at the game makers and she just thinks she's angry.
Yeah,
And it's like, well, yes.
you've been programmed, Queen.
Well, yes.
Correct.
It is a rebellious act because you were angry and you had the
Yes.
tools to utilize that
Mhm.
anger effectively.
Absolutely. Yes, girl, we are angry. We
Um, I thought it was so funny how she's like she really is grappling with these two what are huge to her.
Of course.
Her world and everything about it is terrible, and these two boys really like her.
And they are equally pressing on her.
It's all coming together at the same time, and she's got to pick what to focus on.
And she's like, we gotta pick the rebellion. And we're like, yeah, Katniss,
Gotta pick
thank
the
you, girl.
rebellion. Uh,
So funny. Um, Well, I think we should do a follow-up pod when we both reread uh, Mockingjay and Sunrise.
I
I don't know
agree.
if I'm gonna reread Ballad too. I
Mhm.
really don't have any inclination. I don't really like Snow enough to want to spend any more time in his head. Um,
But there's so much to talk about. Like, yes, I mean, we've been talking for what, an hour at this
yeah,
point, more than that.
probably.
Um, and I feel like we've only barely touched the surface. Like, we haven't even talked about the characters in book two, but beyond
No,
mentioning them, we haven't talked about Finnick at all.
I know, which is crazy.
Um, we haven't talked about the like structure difference between the grooming team in the book and the grooming team in the like there's so much to talk about between the two, and I
Yeah.
do think it's really fun to talk about them at the same time.
Rereading them as a child, my favorite was Catching Fire, and I think Catching Fire is still my favorite, but just now for different
Yeah.
reasons.
Yeah, me too.
Just for different
And
reasons.
Catching Fire was my favorite movie.
Oh, for sure. Catching Fire is the best movie by far. By far. By far.
Do you have any last thoughts, any last um impressions, feelings?
I think have you seen have you seen there's this content creator called Grace Ritter who did this Hunger Games. She remade the Hunger Games movie, but it was just her and her friends at a cabin for the weekend and they just like shot for shot remade the movie. It is hysterical. You have to watch it. I'll send it
Okay,
to you. I hope listeners at home you've seen this because it is very, 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 very very funny. Uh, and
please send it to me.
it's very funny, but part of me feels like more of who Katniss is in the books is reflected in that than it is in the movie. I just feel like um the things that they decided not to put into the movie make sense,
Hmm.
but like her relationship with her family is so much more important in the books than it is in the movies.
Yeah.
Like she's just kind of like, "Mom, don't go silent again. Don't go radio silence on us." But like in the books, we get way more of why she would go radio silence and like her relationship with her dad and how much they were in love and all these things. I just feel like I miss a lot of the family vibes at the book. Because like the
Mm.
romance, whatever, they really decided to zero in on the romance in the movies.
We didn't even talk about mental health, specifically her mom.
I know.
I blocked this out.
Oh, I
I'm
loved it.
getting worked up again, and I'm like, we're
Yeah.
supposed to be ending this, and I'm
I know. I'm
thinking of
like,
things
we
for us
have
to keep
because we're
talking
gonna
about.
talk for another hour. I'm like, we have to put a cap on this. But I think we do a part two where we talk about Mockingjay and we talk about Sunrise like more, but we talk
Hmm.
about all of it because I think I need to reread Mockingjay and I just have been
Yeah,
putting it off.
yeah.
I
And
should
I'm
have for
wondering if we do it after the Sunrise movie comes out,
yeah,
because
we'll
then we'll
see.
have had time to connect
Percolate.
what's going on there.
May
Because
we?
I will be watching that movie. I'm sad.
I'm I will be sad as well.
I'm
I
sad.
will be sad and sad.
I can't watch the trailer without crying.
It's just too much. I was like when he gets down on his knees like sweetheart, I'm like I know what we are both currently reading because we are both currently reading The Hunger Games, but is there anything else that you're currently reading?
I am.
Oh my God, go Queen, go.
I am fully in my Jester Princess moment
This is so
because
crazy, dude.
I started reading Trick by Natalie Jaster.
Okay.
So this book, I had to take a step away from it actually, which I almost never do when I'm really into books, but I needed a break because it was becoming such an obsession that I
Yes.
was like, stop, take a couple days away. It's okay. It's not going to hurt you to to not read it for 3 days.
Yeah.
So the court jester of the spring court is not Faye. I have to start by saying that.
Thank you.
Not Faye.
Thank you.
The jester of the spring court's name is Poet. And we're introduced to Poet through his POV, and he talks about sort of like targeting this princess. And then we pop into the princess's perspective, and her name is Briar.
Okay, classic.
So Briar is the princess from the Autumn Court.
Okay.
She is in the Spring Court with her mom because they are making some diplomatic discussions, doing a lot of
Moves.
diplomatic
Great.
discussions between the courts. Briar is the only heir at these discussions. All of the other courts have opted to not bring their heirs with them. And
Uh-oh.
there's a little bit of discussion about why that is
Yeah.
and how it changes. Um, but she is kind of in this like limbo space because she's not really taking part in these discussions, but she has a lot of opinions about them. And for a lot of the time, she really is just a like figure at events and is a person that people want to talk to and interact with.
Yeah.
And one day she is looking out the window with her ladies, and they see this man walking through a little maze, and
Mm-hmm.
the other girls are besotted, and they're like t t t t t t, and they see him have a little rendezvous with a woman.
Whoa.
And they see them together, they see them go behind some hedges, they hear some things, and then they see him leave. And so they don't see acts, but they start to make some
Yeah.
uh they start to put some pieces together in their minds. And he knows that she saw him,
Okay.
and she knows that he knows that she saw him. And their first real interaction is at a ball that night. And
Okay.
she is not particularly interested in him. The Autumn Court is not particularly sexual in nature, but the Spring Court is very into their
Lusty month of
sexuality.
May.
Lusty Month of May. They are very open with their sexuality. They talk about it. There is no hiding sexuality at the Spring Court, and Autumn Court is very
Demure.
very
Mindful.
demure, very mindful. Briar doesn't really trust Poet because he has a lot of nice words to say, but she's not sure that she can trust his actions. And it turns out, and I don't think this is a spoiler because it happens pretty early in the
Yeah.
book, Poet is a single dad.
A single dad trope.
And Poet loves his son.
Aww.
And his son is disabled.
Aww.
And it is a huge deal because the he's like mentally disabled,
Gosh.
and the way this world views people with this disability is
Yeah.
very unkind, and he has worked really hard to hide his son.
Yeah.
And knowing that Briar knows about his son is creating a lot of tension for them
Dun dun
because he
dun.
doesn't know if he can trust Briar.
Yeah.
And then on top of all of this plot stuff, right? We've got these two characters that have so much tension between them for multiple reasons. We've got political machinations happening.
Yeah.
Poet and Briar are very attracted to each other.
Yes, of course they
And
are.
I was so nervous that this book was not going to pay off. We get a whole chapter, one whole chapter that is just the first kiss.
I love that.
I can't remember the last time I've read a book that has taken time.
With the first kiss.
We get details. We get thoughts. We get feelings. We get this push and pull and want and like but I can't. And it's all in one chapter and really breaks down this like buildup of sexual tension and the release of it, and then the like rebuild of it because of the release. And it's so good.
Juicy.
And then we start to get into their sexual relationship. And that is also so good. And I'm only like 60% of the way into the book. Let me double check how far I am. Yeah, I'm 68% into the book. I have 5 hours left in the audiobook.
Yeah.
I can't wait to find out what happens. I'm so excited.
I feel like we've been in this era of like they're smooching and they're booching and they're whatever in chapter two, but there's something to be said about that yearning.
She lets the yearning build really nicely. And then, even with that release, there's more yearning.
Love.
There's more yearning. So I am recommending this book to everybody, especially if you're a
Yes.
romance reader. There's very little fantasy in it. It's like fantasy light.
Love.
Um, and even like the way Briar talks about it, she's like, there's very little magic in this world. A lot of it has to do with nature.
Right?
So like their makeout session is she tries to justify it because it happens in this meadow and like in these woods, and there's something
Yeah.
about these woods that makes people like really release their inhibitions and
Feel
lean
the rain
into
on their
their
skin.
desires.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm really interested in this like fantasy light. Like there's a little bit of magic in the air, there's a little bit of magic in the world
Yeah.
um atmosphere,
Yes.
but it's not so much controlled by people.
Yes. It's just like it's fun and whimsical because it's fun and whimsical. And you're like, yeah, it is fun and
Yeah.
whimsical.
Yeah.
You have
So
to.
there
You have
is dead dad. Her dad is dead and it is a lot for her to work through. So spoiler for or like
content
warning.
warning.
Content warning for that. Um yeah, I had no idea what I was walking into except that it was Princess Jester. And I
You
am
gotta read this.
obsessed. It's next.
You gotta read this. If you're
It's
Princess Jessica,
next.
okay, because you gotta read this. You have to.
Yeah.
Um, um, so if, for those of you who are not me living in my phone, Deirdre sent me a whole bunch of those Chester Princess edits. Um, and I I get the appeal. I do. I get the appeal. Um, it's just it's so funny the things that go on in different corners of the things, and I'm like, I never saw this. But I'm like, I look at the views and the comments, I'm like, this is very popular.
I've been waiting for this book for over a month. I'm like, I know if I'm waiting for like this book feels so niche. I was
So
like, for
niche.
sure I'm gonna get an instant download on Libby.
Of
No,
course.
I had to wait so long.
Whoa, who else is
And
who
I'm
else is
like, wow, is everybody in New York on Princess Jester TikTok? Like, what's going on?
also library? Get a couple more copies, man. Maybe get a
Come on
couple more
now.
copies.
Come on now.
That
And
is
turns out it's part of a series.
I've finished two books recently, and I'm in the middle of a third for Family Book Club. But I can't talk about one of them. So I did finish Murder Bimbo by Rebecca Novak to be described in a later date. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Um, I also finished In a League of Her Own, the baseball romance by
Oh.
Liz Tomford that I had started. Kind of DNF'd it by the end. It just like her books I've read enough of them now that I feel like confident in saying because some people love them. And
Hmm.
I think um I've read enough sports romance and I'm like I feel like I have a niche, but I'm like her books just feel a little too long for me.
Mm.
Like we just at the end it's like I we got it. But
Yeah.
it's a single dad, grandpa. He's a young grandpa who is the owner. He's not the owner. He's like the manager of the baseball team and then she gets brought in as the new owner because she inherits the
Mm.
team from her grandpa. She's this female owner of this Major League Baseball team, and so she's facing a lot of like crap from people. Um, but it's basically like their whole relationship is they're like, we can't because if we do, then people are going to think less of me. Um, or like gonna think like because I like and rightfully so, because yeah, people probably because she's a woman will think these things about her. I'm like, it was fine. It was fine. It was I DNF'd by the end because I just was like, get me to the end. Like, how does this end? I just want this to be but it has a lot of really high reviews, so I think a lot of people do like it. I just think the pacing for me was a little too slow. A little too slow. And then I am reading The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. The God of the Wood.
That
Um,
is a thick book.
I know, and it's my book club pick for me fam.
You picked it?
I did pick it. And you'll think, Danielle, why did you pick it? Because Taylor Swift was listening to the audiobook in her Eras Tour documentary. And I was like, I do have to be reading this. But they just announced that it is getting an adaptation on Netflix with
Ah.
Maya Hawke. She's going to be in
Mm.
it. But it's basically this um 1970, 75-ish summer camp where this girl goes and she um there's a camp counselor there, but a 13-year-old girl goes missing. And it's kind of strange because 10 years prior from the same camp, her older brother went missing. So it's kind of the mystery of this. So it's like suspense. It's people have like um drawn connections to, like Donna Tartt's Secret History.
Mm.
Like it's supposed to be like kind of moody, kind of broody. Um, I've read a lot of when I was because here's the thing.
Tell me.
When you get to pick the family book club pick, a lot
Hmm.
of thought goes into it because you're like, okay, I want to get something that we all will enjoy, but also if I were to actually pick a book that I would read, none of my family, like no one wants to read my sport romance with me,
Sure.
except for maybe my younger sister. Um, but there's a lot of like class consciousness, a lot of like the rich people versus the not so rich people, or like the workers versus the people who are owning the camp. But it seems really good, and it's yeah, it's a chunky book, but it's also not chunky because it's like only like just under 600 pages.
Oh, that is chunky.
Okay, but like Catching Fire is like 380. So like it's like two Catching Fires.
That's a lot. I think anything over 450 is chunky.
I think I sorry, I had to think about that.
So
But yeah,
serious.
good. I think because I read a lot of ebooks and Kindle Unlimited books, lengths of books have lost meaning for me because sometimes I'm reading
Totally
these
fair.
books that are so freaking long and I have no idea. Or that are like 200 pages and I'm like, I've been reading this for weeks. This is awful.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think physical books sometimes surprise me. Like when I go to pick up romance, like if I read a book and then I'm like, oh, I'll go get the physical book
Hmm.
for my shelf. And I see the size, I'm like, that's not how I envisioned
Yeah.
the book going. Um, so I think for me, I'm like, if it's like 800 plus, I think that's a chunky book.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. With that, I think we have officially reached the end of the episode. I think if we
May
keep
we?
talking, this episode will be 5 hours long.
May we?
So, if you made it to the end of this episode, please, please, please head on over to our Instagram page and on our most recent post, please leave us the
I don't know, like the flame emoji, girl on fire. Does
Yeah.
that seem like a little like
Yeah. Oh yeah. Leave us
cliche? Little
a little
cliche.
fire emoji. You could tell us what your favorite Hunger Games book and favorite Hunger Games movie are
And
also.
why you hate Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes as well.
Yeah. If you're interested in us doing a part two, we're probably gonna do a part two whether you want it or not. Please let us know. We would love to hear your thoughts.
Yes.
While you're over on Instagram, you can go ahead and follow Danielle and I on our personal accounts. You can stay a little bit more up to date with what we are doing. We are very sadly coming to the end of this season very soon. We're not going to talk too much about it because we don't want to think about it.
Break our heart.
But if you want to stay a little bit more up to date with Danielle and I outside of the podcast, I'm at Deirdre's Digital Diary on Instagram and TikTok, Deirdre Rose Morgan on YouTube, and Enchanted Echoes on Bindery.
And I'm DJ Books on TikTok, Instagram, and on the Red.
You can find us on your favorite podcast platform, and we will chat to you in the next one. Bye.